A couple of weeks ago, we asked, what do you think about angels? And you said angels are just stories we tell ourselves. So this week's question is, what do you think about astrologers, astrology, and all that? It's obviously a story that we tell ourselves. Like, it can't be anything else because it appears in words. But astrology is, it does seem to like correspond, if you get a good astrologer, to particular human dynamics. But of course it's a story. Like, we made up the word astrology. We're talking about it. We're relating the stars to these things. Everything is a story. Like, to a dog, there is no astrology. To the cow, there is no astrology. It doesn't mean that the stars don't line up with certain characteristics or behaviors or events, but it doesn't exist. It exists in the human world. We've invented these words and then we communicate them. They're not fact. There's never anything that's fact. And we believe all these words. We really believe that we are alive, but we're somebody inside these bodies, and we're in relationship with this outside world, and we're kind of walking around separate in a world and having all these experiences and communicating with people, and that it's fact and that it's actually happening. Whereas, who are you? Who is it that's looking out of the eyes? Who is it that speaks? Who is it that hears? And at what point does that become separate from everything that's experienced? You might notice that no matter where you go, what you do, if you jumped onto the moon, if you went to Pluto, to another galaxy, there's always this moment. You never lose this moment. You can never be like, oh, let me just put this moment down, I'll just fold it up and put it in my bag, get it out later. You always have this moment, and in this moment, everything else changes. And this moment is experiencing itself. So you can't detach experiencing from this moment. This moment is experiencing itself. Everything else changes. The body changes, the brain changes, the thoughts change, the feelings change, the emotions change, the skin changes, the blood changes, the cells change, the world changes, the floor changes, the walls change, the bed change. Everything else changes, but these two factors, this moment and experiencing, and this sense of existence, this is always here. But the person assumes that I am a body, I am a story, and I'm a name moving through time. Whereas that's the story you've told yourself, and astrology exists in stories as well. Who you are is this moment. And the person always wants to understand that or know that on the intellectual level, but you can't really know it on the intellectual level. You can have a good intellectual understanding, but it's really a resonance that who you truly are isn't a body, isn't a mind, isn't an idea. Who you truly are is everything, which is nothing. And that these beautiful, imperfect but perfect bodies can never be enlightened. You have to give up that dream that you are going to become better than your neighbor because you're enlightened, because who becomes enlightened? Who? There is nobody inside the bodies. There is one enlightenment, and that's life's enlightenment, and that's all there ever is. Thanks, that was beautiful, Dennis. Next question. This is from Dennis again. Unconditional love. Lisa. Open-minded versus judgmental seems a lot like unconditional love. Presence. Awareness versus conditional love. Absence, preoccupied. For me, it's all one thing, both and unconditionally. This is our human condition, no matter how awake we are. I would say it's the attachment to the judgments. It's attachment to the circumstance, which creates the seeking and the separation. It's not them in themselves. And the unconditional love and the unconditioned mind is actually the true self, the big self. It's this energetic shift, this recognition of who you are. Thank you, Dennis.